Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in for my strategic plan presentation. My name is Dylan May. Let's go ahead and let's hop right into it. All right, so here's my presentation. The name of my presentation, it's a little bit long, so bear with me. Utilizing club sports to improve student retention, on-campus recruitment opportunities, and bolster mental and physical health. I'm going to touch on each one of those points in greater detail in just a moment. Here we are, context and background. So the university that I chose is the University of Montana. That's in Missoula, Montana. That's my alma mater for my undergrad degree. Where we are going to be focusing on is in the Department of Athletics. Their athletic affiliation is in the Big Sky Conference. That's at the NCAA Division I level. And the perspective of the strategic plan is that of the head coach. So the idea, I want to take a moment just to touch on kind of the idea behind the strategic plan. So, when I was competing at the University of Montana on the cross country and track team, we would have recruits who would come in who, they'd be really excited about running. They got a lot of joy from running, but their times would be just a little too slow to make the team. Of course, we're at the Division I level, so it's a competitive team that we're feeling there's only so many spots that can be filled by recruits every single year. So sometimes we have people who come to the university just not quite fast enough. Sorry, we don't have a spot for you on the team. Other times I'd have friends who I'd meet along the way who, ran cross country in high school and, would run if they had the opportunity. And, when I was there, we did have a running club, but it was kind of floundering. And, there'd be a lot of people at the very beginning of the semester and attendance would kind of taper off. So I was thinking, hey, what if we could create a more structured running club that was headed up by the head cross country coach, so that you have someone very involved in running and the running community and running know-how that could really foster that team atmosphere among a running club. And they would create training plans for it, very general one, not as individualized for the varsity athletes, but a general one for everyone to train along with. And it was more student led in the day-to-day, but overall that head coach is there to facilitate it. What would that look like? How could we implement it? That's what I aim to get down to in this presentation. So now that we have a little bit of a background, let me get into kind of the goals and the outcomes that we're looking for this. We want to start with the university on the right. We're looking at improved campus community. An improved campus community, what I mean is just this picture up above actually is from the club fair. It's a huge event at the beginning of the fall semester. It highlights every single club that's on campus. As you can see, there's a huge club community on campus. By adding another club, hey, that's another group of students that have something that have some common interests that can get together on a regular basis, and that's only going to improve campus community, even if it's just one more club. Greater student club participation is going to tie right into improved student retention, of course, and the references right down below here, that touches on a couple of those articles touch on how their research indicates that students who participate in clubs, have higher retention rates than those students who don't attend clubs. So just a real quick way that we can improve retention, as it was mentioned in the title of the strategic plan, getting into students, more friends with shared interests. All right, as I kind of mentioned already. And then improve mental wellness, as well as improve physical health and ability. This University Health Services article from the University of Michigan just quickly says, hey, those students who work out often have better mental health. All right, working out contributes to improved mental health. And so if we can encourage and provide an opportunity for students to work out on a regular basis, we're going to be all about it. And then racing opportunities too. I don't want to breeze over that because that's what we're running and that's what we're training for. It's the opportunity to race and to lower our times and to improve upon ourselves. And then lastly, the coach, greater campus reach and image. That's going to tie into how the coach through this club is going to meet a number of students that Without the club, they wouldn't have had the opportunity to interact with. They're just going to get to be well known throughout campus and across campus. And then on-campus recruitment opportunities. That's kind of the last aspect of the title that I mentioned previously. With that on-campus recruitment opportunity, you're going to bring students in, they're going to the club, to the running club, and hopefully along the way, they're going to improve their times. And that presents the opportunity that, hey, maybe this student, when they started in the running club, they didn't have the times to make it to the varsity team. But now that they've been here for a year or two, they're competitive with members of the varsity team. And you know what? A roster spot opens up every single year. And now you're bringing that student from the club sport level to the varsity sport level. So it creates a unique opportunity in that sense, just to recruit right on campus. The hardest part of recruiting is getting someone to come to campus. So if you already have those students on campus and they're fit to make the team, that takes away the hardest part of recruiting and creates a real neat special opportunity. Want to touch on just a little SWOT analysis, these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. One strength of this club is that there are very low operating costs. Hey, you got a pair of shoes, a t-shirt, and shorts, you can come right out to practice. We got a spot for you. That's all you need to bring. And then students at are very outdoorsy and into physical fitness. And as I mentioned, a number of them run cross country when they're in high school. That just comes from my experience in the admissions office. And so you got a student body that's already interested in this. We're just providing them the structure through the strategic plan. As far as weaknesses go, injury risk of club participants, since it's going to be the coach is there more as a facilitator and to take care of everything with the associate students of the University of Montana and like club recognition. The club participants are going to be running more on their own than that of the varsity team. So you're just going to have more people at practice, and that by numbers and probability, that means an increase in injuries. With that increase in injuries, we come down to threats, reliance on personal insurance and private care providers. They're not going to have access to the athletic trainers that the varsity athletes have access to. Also, the head coach were to resign or be terminated, there could be the possibility that the running club was very dependent on the head coach's leadership and that it just ceases to exist after that head coach is gone. And that's why the student leadership is so important, that you develop student leadership that is rock solid and self-dependent. And then another weakness is additional administrative tasks for the head coach. But again, that's why you rely on those student leaders and really delegate a lot of those day-to-day operations. So the head coach isn't really burdened by the additional administrative responsibilities. You really want the student leaders to embrace this club and make it their own. That's what's going to make it really special. One last thing, opportunities, the Runner's Edge and Run Wild Missoula. The Runner's Edge is the local running store in town. Run Wild Missoula is the club that is facilitated outside of of that store. And Run Wild Missoula puts on a number of races and events in town. So there's a partnership opportunity. Hey, maybe students in the running club on campus can get discounted entry into those events, those racing events like the Missoula Marathon or Run for the Luck of It, the St. Patrick's Day 5K and 10K. Maybe we can give them a little discounted entry to get into those meets. And then some resources that would be needed for this. Great picture of Missoula and the Clark Fork River that runs right through it. Staffing would be the head coach. And there's an opportunity for university faculty and staff who are into running to get involved as well. As far as training goes, there's an Associate Students of the University of Montana Club Organization module. It's like a quiz that anyone who is running a club on campus has to take. And then, develop the student leadership structure as well to, start passing that baton, delegating those responsibilities for your student leaders. And then budgetary considerations, as I mentioned, very low operating costs for the club. And ASUM has funds available for traveling and other just expenditures that come up for their clubs as well. As we move to wrap up this presentation, the timeline is kind of the last thing that I really wanted to touch on. Let me just highlight a couple of important dates along the way. So April 20th, this is written from the perspective that like the head coach started there fall of 2021. All right, so they started their fall of 2021. They're during that fall and the following spring semester, they're going to want to try to gather their leadership team. And they're also going to want to try to try to put together, hey, what this club is going to look like, and that application deadline on April 20th. They want to get that application in before then. Then they're going to come back the following fall. They'll be approved at that time. We looked at September 23rd, travel allocation request. So, hey, maybe the running club wants to go to club cross country nationals in December. That's put on the USA Track and Field Association. So they could put in a travel allocation request. You notice that there's another one of those on February 3rd for the spring. So with that one that comes up in the spring, they can go through, put together requests, because maybe they want to go out to the Boston Marathon that's ran every spring and watch that, or maybe someone's training for the marathon in the running club and they're going out to the Boston Marathon. Anything like that comes up in the spring. And then by April 19th of 2023, hey, we need to re-up that membership and get that taken care of as well. So wrapping up here, here are the references that showed up throughout the presentation. And lastly, a good picture of the M Trail. I've noticed, or I mentioned Run Wild Missoula earlier in the presentation. Run Wild Missoula hosts the Mount Sentinel Hill Climb. That's Mount Sentinel here. And with the Mount Sentinel Hill Climb, it goes all the way to the summit, all the way to the top of Mount Sentinel. Up to the M is about 0.67 miles. And the first male, first female up to the M, that's only a third of the way through the race, gets $100 each. And then after that, it's a long climb all the way to the top. But just a good picture to end on. Everyone, I want to thank you so much for tuning in, sitting through the presentation, watching along. Please, if you have any questions, just let me know, drop them in the comments. I'd love to talk to you more about my strategic plan and to get those questions answered. Take care, everybody.